All right, you bastards, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the absolutely bonkers world of the Bonapartes.
Bonkers is
You know, everyone's heard of Napoleon,
yeah.
the little prick who conquered Europe, right?
Oh yeah.
But this deep dive is going to expose the whole damn family.
Yeah.
And trust me, they were a wild bunch.
Oh, they were a fascinating bunch. Really a case study in ambition and power and dysfunction.
And dysfunction. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to trace their journey from their humble beginnings in Corsica all the way to the top of European royalty.
Yeah.
With all the scandalous twists and turns along the way.
Absolutely.
And believe me, there are more twists and turns than a goddamn pretzel factory.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts from Wikipedia on the House of Bonaparte, so we're going deep, folks.
All right.
Get ready for some holy shit moments.
To understand the Bonapartes, we need to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
In Corsica, where they landed after, bouncing around various Italian towns. And they weren't exactly peasants, mind you.
Right.
The name Bonaparte actually means good part in Italian.
Far.
Yeah, and they were part of the patrician class, basically the upper crust in these towns.
More like the power-hungry part, if you ask me.
Well,
These guys were obsessed with titles and crowns.
it's true.
Emperors, kings, grand duchesses, you name it, they grabbed it.
It's true that the acquisition of titles played a significant role in their story.
Yeah.
I mean, Napoleon's rise to Emperor of the French was just, the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
He pretty much handed out kingdoms to his siblings like they were party favors.
Talk about nepotism, right?
Yeah.
Hey, bro, want to be king of Holland? I've got one lying around. Just don't piss me off or I'll take it back.
Yeah, the case of Louis Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, who was made king of Holland, demonstrates that it wasn't always a smooth ride.
Yeah.
Louis actually tried to prioritize the interests of the Dutch people,
But
which, as you can imagine, didn't sit well with Napoleon.
yeah, Napoleon wasn't exactly known for his sharing. Guess bros before thrones. That's all in his vocabulary. So what happened? Did Napoleon kick his brother's ass back to France?
Essentially, yes.
Really?
Louis was forced to abdicate, which highlights the complex dynamics within the family. It
Yeah.
wasn't just about Napoleon's ambitions. Other members had their own desires, and in some cases, their own rebellious streaks.
Okay, let's cut the crap. Napoleon was the star of this shit show,
Right.
and everyone else was just playing backup to his power trip.
Wow.
But fine, tell me more about these rebellious Bonapartes. Who else dared to piss off the almighty emperor?
Lucien, Napoleon's older brother, was a prime example.
Right.
Napoleon wanted him to divorce his wife and marry someone who could, further his political ambitions, but Lucien flat out refused.
Good for him. Sticking it to the man. Even if that man was his own emperor brother, what did Napoleon do? Throw him in the dungeon?
Exile was the preferred punishment.
Oh, really?
Lucien ended up far away from Napoleon's court, but remained a vocal critic of his brother's regime.
So he was the black sheep of the family,
Mm.
even more than the dude who decided to crown himself emperor.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
What about the sisters? Were they all meek little lambs following Napoleon's orders?
Not exactly.
Oh.
Pauline, one of Napoleon's sisters, she was a notorious scandal magnet.
Oh, okay.
Multiple marriages, numerous affairs. She made headlines with her, shall we say, adventurous love life?
Let's just say Pauline wouldn't have won none of the year awards.
No.
So we've got Napoleon, the power-hungry emperor, Louis, the rebellious king, Lucien, the defiant brother, and Pauline, the scandalous sister. Sounds like this family was one big dysfunctional soap opera.
That's one way to put it, but remember, they weren't just a collection of individuals.
Yeah.
They were a dynasty, a
Yeah.
sprawling family tree with, branches all intertwined and vying for influence.
That family tree must be a tangled mess.
It is. It is.
I bet even they had trouble keeping track of all the names and titles. I mean, how do you even untangle that mess?
Well, it is complex, but if we, break it down strategically, we can start to see the connections between the different branches and how they interacted.
Okay.
So we know Napoleon's parents were Carlo Bonaparte and Letizia Romolino.
Sure.
They had 8 children, including Napoleon and his brothers, Joseph, Lucien, Louis, and Jerome.
Okay.
They also had 3 sisters, Elisa, Pauline, and Caroline.
Gotcha.
And of course, Napoleon had one legitimate son, Napoleon II.
One legitimate son. I'm guessing there were a few illegitimate ones scattered around Europe,
You are correct.
considering those Bonapartes and their wandering hands.
Yes. But for now, let's focus on the legitimate line.
Okay.
Napoleon's siblings also had their own brood, and, these nieces and nephews played various roles in his empire. For example, his nephew, Louis Napoleon, eventually became Napoleon III, Emperor of the French.
Wait, what? So even after Napoleon kicked the bucket, his family was still clinging to power.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with the emperors.
Not quite. The Bonaparte dynasty didn't end with Napoleon.
Really?
It continued through his siblings and their descendants. And even today, there are people who believe a Bonaparte should be ruling France.
You're telling me there's still people out there who think France needs a Bonaparte on the throne? Seriously?
Yeah.
After all that bloodshed and bullshit?
Believe it or not, there's a Bonapartist movement that advocates for the restoration of the dynasty. They see Napoleon and his family not as tyrants, but as visionaries who brought glory and stability to France.
So even after all the wars and chaos, people still buy into this empire crap.
Yeah.
Humans are a strange bunch, aren't they? But you got to admit, it makes for one hell of a story.
It does, it does.
Yeah.
The Bonapartes are more than just a historical footnote. They represent a powerful and enduring myth, a myth of ambition, glory, and the allure of power.
A myth that's been romanticized and glorified, you mean?
Yeah.
Let's not forget the reality. These guys were ruthless conquerors who caused a shit ton of suffering.
Yeah, it's true.
But hey, maybe that's what makes them so fascinating.
Yeah,
The good, the bad, and the downright ugly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The Bonapartes are a cautionary tale, a reminder that power, even when pursued with the best of intentions, can corrupt and destroy.
Yeah.
But they're also a testament to the human capacity for ambition, for better or for worse.
Okay, I need a fucking drink after all that. We've barely scratched the surface of this insane family. We've got illegitimate children, scandals galore, and the enduring legacy of these bastards to unpack.
Yeah,
Stay with us, folks. There's a lot more to come.
absolutely. So let's pick up where we left off.
Okay.
With those crowns, Napoleon was handing out like candy. We talked about Louis's little fiasco in Holland, but the family's reign in Spain on a whole other level of fucked up.
Oh, yeah. King Joey B. The brother of Napoleon tried to shove onto the Spanish throne. I bet the Spaniards weren't too thrilled about some French dude waltzing in and declaring himself king.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
Joseph's reign was it was a shit shooter from start to finish,
Oh, really?
marked by constant uprisings and guerrilla warfare.
Wow.
It was a bloody and chaotic chapter in Spanish history.
So Napoleon basically threw his brother into a hornet's nest. Talk about family love.
Well, to be fair to Napoleon, he did believe Joseph could bring order to Spain. After all, he had been relatively successful as king of Naples. But he seriously underestimated the Spanish people's, fierce resistance to foreign rule.
Yeah, and probably overestimated his brother's competence. Let's be real, Joseph wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. The guy got chased out of Spain with his tail between his legs.
Joseph's reign in Spain was a failure, there's no denying that. But it's crucial to understand the historical context.
Yeah.
Spain was deeply divided at the time, a tangled web of political and social conflicts.
Okay.
Joseph was stuck in the middle of a mess, he couldn't control.
Okay, I get it. Poor, incompetent Joey B. But enough about him. Let's move on to some of the other siblings. Did any of them manage to hold on to their crowns without completely screwing things up?
Well, there was Jerome, Napoleon's youngest brother. Napoleon made him king of Westphalia, a newly created kingdom cobbled together from various German states.
Westphalia. Sounds like something out of a fairy tale. Was it a real place?
It was a real kingdom, albeit a short-lived one. It lasted only a few years.
Okay.
But unlike Joseph, Jerome seemed to enjoy his time as king.
Okay.
He was known for his lavish lifestyle and his love of a good party.
Partying. Now you're talking my language. Tell me more about this fun-loving Bonaparte.
Jerome was quite the character. He was charming, witty, and let's just say he appreciated the company of women.
Yeah.
He was married 3 times, and his love life was a constant source of gossip and scandal.
That's like my kind of guy. Was he basically the Hugh Hefner of the Bonaparte family?
He certainly enjoyed the finer things in life, but to his credit, he did try to implement some reforms in Westphalia.
Yeah.
He attempted to modernize the legal system and promote education.
So he wasn't a complete fuck-up. But let's be real.
Yeah.
He was probably more interested in champagne and mistresses than actually governing.
Perhaps, but as I mentioned earlier, these were complex individuals with their own motivations and complexities. We can't just reduce them to caricatures.
All right. Point taken. But let's not forget about the scandals. We're talking about the Bonapartes, remember?
Yeah.
They were like the Kardashians of their time.
Yeah.
But with more bloodshed.
It's true, their lives were overflowing with drama and intrigue. We already touched on Pauline's, shall we say, colorful love life.
Yeah.
But there are plenty more skeletons in the Bonaparte's closet.
Oh, I'm all ears. Spill the tea. Give me the dirt.
For starters, Napoleon himself had several illegitimate children.
No surprises there. The dude was probably siring bastards all over Europe, conquering countries and women left and right.
One of his most famous illegitimate children was Alexandra Kolona Walski,
Okay.
born from his affair with Marie Countess Walewski.
So Napoleon was doing the dirty behind Empress Josephine's back about the cold man. What was the deal with their relationship anyway?
It was a complicated one, a mix of genuine affection and political maneuvering. Josephine was unable to bear Napoleon an heir, which ultimately led to their divorce.
Ah, the classic I need an heir excuse. It's the oldest trick in the power-hungry playbook. So what happened to all these illegitimate kids? Did any of them try to stake a claim to the Bonaparte fortune or power?
Some, like Alexandra Kolona Walewski, went on to have successful careers in their own right.
Okay.
Others lived more, ordinary lives.
Okay.
But their very existence serves as a reminder of the Bonapartes' human side, their flaws and contradictions.
Yeah, and their insatiable libidos. These Bonapartes sure knew how to get around. But okay, let's get serious for a minute. What's the lasting impact of these crazy bastards? What did they actually leave behind?
The Bonapartes left an indelible mark on European history. Napoleon's conquests helped spread the ideals of the French Revolution throughout the continent, leading to, widespread political and social reforms.
So they were like the original revolutionaries.
Yeah.
Spreading democracy and freedom with the sight of cannons and muskets.
It was a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Napoleon's empire was ultimately a dictatorship, and his conquests caused, immense suffering. His legacy is a complex one, a mix of positive and negative consequences.
So the Bonapartes, a mixed bag of crazy, ambitious, and undeniably influential individuals. They conquered, they fucked, they screwed up, and they left the world a very different place.
That's a pretty accurate summary. They rose from obscurity to the heights of power, leaving a trail of, both glory and destruction in their wake.
Right. My brain is officially fried. We've covered a lot of ground, but I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface. This Bonaparte saga is like a bottomless pit of crazy.
There's always more to learn,
Yeah.
more to explore. The Bonapartes are a subject that never truly ends.
Yeah.
Their story continues to fascinate and intrigue us even centuries after their reign.
Well, folks, there you have it. The Bonapartes. A family more fucked up than a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah.
We've got emperors, kings, scandals, illegitimate children, and enough drama to fill, 1,000 history books. And believe it or not, there's still more to come.
Indeed, the story of the Bonapartes doesn't end with Napoleon.
We'll be back after a quick break to explore the later generations of this wild family. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Okay, you degenerates, welcome back to the shit show.
I mean, we're still knee-deep in Bonaparte bullshit.
I know.
I'm starting to think these fuckers were more obsessed with crowns than like a toddler with a goddamn tiara.
Well, titles and positions weren't merely about vanity for the Bonapartes. They were tools for consolidating power, establishing legitimacy, and forging a dynasty that they hoped would dominate Europe.
Okay, so Napoleon crowns himself emperor, throws a few scraps to his siblings. But what about the kids? Did they all get to play dress up with fancy titles too? Well, Napoleon's son, Napoleon II, was given the grandiose title of King of Rome. So you could say he was groomed from birth to inherit his father's empire. But as we know, things didn't exactly go according to plan.
Yeah, little Napoleon never got to sit on the big throne.
Yeah.
So what happened to him? Did he just kind of like fade into obscurity?
Well, after Napoleon's abdication, his son was taken to Austria,
Okay.
which was his mother's homeland. And he was given the title Duke of Reichstadt and lived a relatively sheltered life. Sadly, he died at the young age of 21, never having ruled France.
So the Bonaparte dynasty was basically DOA, game over.
Not quite. Remember Napoleon's nephew, Louis Napoleon?
Yeah.
He eventually became Napoleon III, Emperor of the French.
Hold up, I'm getting whiplash here. How the hell did this nephew manage to snatch the throne after all that drama?
Well, it's a long and winding tale.
Okay.
But essentially, Louis Napoleon rode a wave of popular support and political maneuvering to power. He tapped into the nostalgia for Napoleon's supposed glory days and promised to bring back order and stability to France.
So France was basically like, hey,
Right.
remember that emperor dude? Let's give that another shot.
In a way, yes. The French people were tired of political turmoil and economic instability.
Yeah.
They were desperate for a strong leader, someone who could make France great again, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Louis Napoleon, with his famous name and promises of a brighter future, seemed like the answer to their prayers.
And did he deliver?
Yeah.
Or was it just more of the same Bonaparte bullshit?
Napoleon III's reign was a mixed bag. He oversaw a period of economic growth and modernization, but he also led France into a disastrous war with Prussia,
Okay.
which ultimately led to his downfall.
Typical Bonaparte.
Mhm.
Can't resist a good war, can he? So that was it for the Bonapartes, right? No more emperors, no more kings, just a bunch of dusty portraits in a museum.
Not exactly. The Bonaparte dynasty is like a hydra. Cut off one head and two more grow back.
Okay, now you're just messing with me. There are still Bonapartes running around claiming to be emperors.
There are actually two individuals who claim to be the rightful head of the Bonaparte family.
Get the fuck out of here.
Charles, Prince Napoleon, and his son, Jean-Christophe, Prince Napoleon.
So there are actually like people out there who think that these guys are like, legit emperors.
Well, they're both descendants of Jérôme Bonaparte, Napoleon's youngest brother.
Oh, those Bonapartes, they just can't let go of the past, can they? So are these guys, are they living in exile? Are they plotting their return to power? Are we talking secret societies and hidden daggers?
Not quite. They live relatively normal lives,
Okay.
but they do maintain a certain level of public profile, attending events and speaking out on political issues.
So they're like the royal family without the actual royalty.
Yeah, you could say that.
Just a bunch of wannabe emperors.
They're a living reminder that history, even ancient history, is never truly over. The past continues to shape the present, and the Bonapartes, with their legacy of ambition, power, and intrigue, continue to fascinate and provoke us even centuries after their reign.
All right, I've had enough Bonapartes for one day. My head is spinning with all these, names, titles, and scandals, but hey, that's the beauty of a good deep dive, right? You learn some shit, you get a good laugh, and you realize that even the most powerful families are just as fucked up as the rest of us.
Indeed. The Bonapartes, with their triumphs and tragedies, are a mirror to human nature itself.
Yeah.
Reflecting our ambition, our flaws, and our capacity for both greatness and utter stupidity.
Well said, well said. So there you have it, folks, the Bonapartes.
Yeah.
A family saga that spans centuries, continents, and an insane amount of drama. We've gone from Corsica to royalty, from emperors to exiles, from battlefield glory to bedroom scandals, and you know what? It's been one hell of a ride.
It's a story that reminds us that history is never just a boring list of facts and dates.
Yeah.
It's a living tapestry woven from the lives of real people, with all their complexities, contradictions, and enduring legacies.
And sometimes those legacies are more fucked up than a bowl of spaghetti. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Bonapartes. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and whatever you do, don't crown yourself emperor, okay?
Wise words.